On the ruse!
There is a reason why this never really felt like Spider-Man. And no, it's not the suit or his swinging technique or his identity.
I'm Spider-Man.
I'm not Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Kind of obvious.
Not Spider-Man at all.
Spider-Man's name is Peter Parker.
I'm not saying none of these things contributed to the fact that the MCU interpretation of the character doesn't really do justice to him. But from the Brand New Day trailer, I think they got it. They managed to solve almost all the problems with the MCU's Spider-Man, and more importantly, address the major issue with the character. He wasn't miserable enough. This is the one thing everyone, including me and you, likes about this trailer. Peter Parker looks like shit.
Language.
The majority of fans are actually rejoicing because of this. The MCU Spider-Man has officially grown past the heights of mediocrity and is finally reaching its peak. This rebirth of the character, where he goes through inhumane torture both mentally and physically, is the best direction any director could take. And Daniel Cretton seems to know exactly what he's doing. Peter Parker should be miserable. That is the major ingredient for a good Spider-Man movie. He should be depressed, beaten down, dragged through the mud, or in this case, through a roof. And the trailer delivers on this. My favorite emotional shot is this one. It visually captures both the mental and physical state of Peter. Him sitting on the floor, clearly bruised, with visible injuries on his leg, washing his suit because he has to, while holding something worth celebrating. But he can't celebrate because he is alone.
It was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
And somehow, this makes me and 99 others sound like complete psychopaths, because it feels like we actually enjoy seeing him suffer. So why? Why does it seem like, for a good Spider-Man movie to be made, Peter Parker has to go through life like a beaten-down loser? Why must he be miserable? Right after the success of the Fantastic Four, Stan Lee had another task. His editor asked him to come up with a new superhero. At the time, heroes were seen as overpowered beings, completely detached from real life. So Stan Lee took inspiration from different sources.
I've told this story so often it might even be true. I can't remember. But I was sitting and I saw a fly crawling on the wall. And I said, wow, suppose a person had the power to stick to a wall like an insect. So I was off and running and I thought, what'll I call him? I tried Mosquito Man, that didn't have any glamour. Insect Man, that was even worse. I went down the line and I got to Spider-Man. It sounded mysterious and dramatic.
First, from a spider climbing a wall, and then from the Spider, an American pulp magazine hero of the 1930s and 1940s. Besides the name, the Spider was hunted by both the police and criminals, a theme that would later appear in Spider-Man's early stories. After years of constant battles, he developed a kind of sixth sense that warned him of danger, which eventually became known as Spider-Man's Spider Sense. This seemed like the perfect set of ingredients for a great comic book character. But Stan's idea was initially rejected for the same reason Spider-Man would later become one of the most beloved heroes of all time. Spider-Man was the first teenage hero who wasn't a sidekick. And most importantly, Stan Lee gave him something no other hero truly had at the time: personal problems. Not tragedy in the Greek sense, not the cosmic grief of a god, just problems, the kind that feel almost embarrassing to have. Money trouble, social anxiety, a job that doesn't pay enough, homework. He wasn't a billionaire. He wasn't a king. He was a 16-year-old kid from Queens who couldn't talk to girls and got bullied in between saving lives. Problems that are relatable, problems that you could have. And that creates one clear idea. There's no excuse to be a bad person. Comic book readers could see themselves in him. They could understand his pain and, more importantly, respect his resilience. That was the whole point. And what made it worse, what made it Spider-Man, is that the problems never stopped. Every time Peter caught a break, something took it away. This wasn't just bad luck. Stan Lee built it into the character deliberately. The formal name for it in comics writing is the Parker Luck. The unofficial name is simple. The universe has a personal vendetta against this kid, and it never lets up. But the Parker Luck isn't just bad fortune. It has a moral engine, and that engine is Uncle Ben. Ben's death is the oldest Spider-Man story there is, and it's been told so many times that it's easy to forget why it still matters. Peter had the power to stop the man who killed his uncle. He chose not to. It wasn't malice, it was indifference. Someone else's problem, and that indifference cost him the person he loved most. That's what "with great power comes great responsibility" actually means. It's a guilt sentence. Peter Parker saved strangers because he once didn't, and a man died in a street in Queens because of that. He has to live with it forever. It's the price of knowing exactly what you're capable of. And what happens when you look away? Every loss after Ben is just a variation of the same wound. That's why it never heals. Because here's what Stan understood that most superhero writers don't. Power without cost is fantasy. Power with cost is story. And Spider-Man's cost isn't just physical, it's relational. It's every relationship he's ever had, slowly falling apart because of the thing he loves most about himself. That's not a superhero problem. That's a human problem. That's why a teenager from Queens became one of the most recognizable fictional characters on the planet. Now, here's where the comic arc the movie borrows its name from becomes important. In 2007, Marvel published One More Day. Peter's Aunt May is dying. He's desperate. And in a deal with the devil, literally a demon named Mephisto, Peter erases his marriage to Mary Jane from existence in exchange for May's life. He gives up the thing he loves most to save someone else. Peter Parker cannot hold on to happiness. Not because the universe is randomly cruel, but because every time happiness shows up, he trades it for someone else's survival. That's who he is. That's the character. Which brings us to the MCU and the problem. Let me be clear about what the MCU did right. Skipping the origin story was smart. We didn't need to watch Uncle Ben die again. The Queen setting, the high school energy, the relationship with Tony Stark, all of it worked. Homecoming is a good movie. But here's where it went wrong, and it did this consistently across 3 films. Peter Parker was never allowed to lose anything that truly mattered. Not really. Tony gave him a suit, then a better suit. There was always a ceiling, always a safety net. Happy Hogan was a phone call away. Nick Fury showed up when things got too difficult. The MCU turned Spider-Man into a superhero who happens to be a teenager. But the character only works if he's a teenager who happens to be a superhero and actually pays the price for it. The misery was there, but it felt decorative. It raised the stakes, but it didn't carry real consequences. Peter looked stressed, sure, but he never looked destroyed. There's a reason Sam Raimi's trilogy worked so well. He took the core of the comics and translated it directly onto the screen while still adding his own style. Peter Parker loses almost everything that matters. Uncle Ben, his best friend Harry Osborn, his stability, and repeatedly his relationship with Mary Jane. By the end, being Spider-Man costs him a normal life, peace of mind, and nearly every meaningful relationship he has. Even in the Amazing Spider-Man series, Peter is put through hell. He loses his parents emotionally, the trust of Harry Osborn, and most devastatingly, Gwen Stacy, whose death he directly fails to prevent. By the end, being Spider-Man costs him the one person who truly understood him, leaving him defined more by grief than responsibility. The series wasn't perfect. Yeah, the second movie was a bit of a mess. But Mark Webb understood something important. Peter has to suffer. But No Way Home changed things for the MCU, at least partially. The ending of Spider-Man No Way Home is the most Spider-Man the MCU has ever been. Peter loses everything. MJ doesn't know him. Ned doesn't know him. Aunt May is dead. He asks Doctor Strange to make the world forget Peter Parker exists. And it works. And just like that, Peter is alone. No Stark tech, no support system, no one. He sews his own suit, gets his GED, starts over. That's the Parker luck. That's the price. And for the first time, the MCU actually lets him pay it. The problem with No Way Home is everything that comes before that ending. The film earns its final 20 minutes, but not always the 2 hours before it. The fan service is huge, and yeah, it's fun.
What's that for?
It's my web fluid. It's for my web shooters. Why?
Whoa!
That came out of you.
Yeah. You can't do that, huh?
No.
Genuinely fun. but it keeps interrupting the emotional weight. The misery is there, but it's competing for screen time with 3 Spider-Men, 6 villains, and a multiverse. The consequence exists, it just doesn't have enough space to breathe. But here's the thing that separates Spider-Man from a straight tragedy. He keeps showing up. That's the distinction the MCU was missing. A Peter Parker who is protected from real loss can still be heroic, but he can't be Spider-Man. Because Spider-Man's heroism isn't born from power or confidence or a good mentor. It's born from someone who has every reason to stop and doesn't. The suit goes back on because Ben is still dead, because Gwen is still dead, because the city doesn't know his name and never will, and he shows up anyway. That's a person deciding over and over again that the weight is worth carrying. Brand New Day seems to understand what No Way Home proved, and then didn't fully commit to. 4 years after the spell, Peter Parker is completely alone, not Stark intern alone or between adventures alone. The trailer shows us a Peter who is doing his laundry, holding something he can't celebrate with anyone, because there is no one. He watches his old friends living their lives on his phone, lives they built without him, because he made sure they would. They seem genuinely happy, and that cuts deep into everything he used to love. Problems that the audience can see themselves in. Losing friends, losing a family member, watching someone you love move on, achieving something big, but having no one to celebrate it with, doing your own laundry, waking up in a web cocoon. Relatable problems. The life of Spider-Man cost him the life of Peter Parker. This film seems to be doing something more honest. It keeps the loss and adds more weight on top of it. Peter remembers everything. He chose this. And now he has to live inside that choice. Physically deteriorating, completely anonymous, in a city that used to know his name. I mean, MJ getting a new boyfriend is actually very depressing for Peter, especially knowing the fact that she is still wearing the necklace he got for her. And she is actively trying to find out who Spider-Man is, as we can see from that shot with all the Spider-Man pictures on her wall. That's not decorative misery. That's the whole architecture of the character, finally built correctly. So what does the trailer leave us to speculate about? Sadie Sink's character is hidden entirely, which means it's significant. The smart guess is that she'll either give Peter a reason to connect again, or another reason not to. There are many rumors that she might play Jean Grey, which makes sense. Someone who can easily get into people's heads, paired with Peter, who wants to remain closed off. The Punisher pairing is interesting because Frank Castle is, in a way, the dark mirror of what Peter could become. A man who also lost everything and made a different choice about what to do with that grief. If Daniel Cretton handles it well, and the trailer suggests he might, that dynamic could do more thematic work than any villain fight. Scorpion is the most anticipated villain. Michael Mando's Mac Gargan, who has been waiting in the shadows since Homecoming back in 2017, finally gets his suit, still driven by his mission to unmask Spider-Man. I can't wait to see how his venom affects Peter. Then there are more ground-level villains like Tarantula, Boomerang, and the Hand, along with the heavily rumored Tombstone, who the trailer conspicuously hides, which usually means he's the one pulling the strings. The color grading is more mature, making almost everything look dull, while his suit stands out against it. The physical transformation, him getting organic webbing. Side note, this film feels like something Marvel should have done a long time ago. It's like a combination of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. The suit looks amazing, with visible wrinkles, the organic webbing, the body movement, and how much more built he looks. Although, I hope the organic webbing is a one-time thing, and I also hope they don't go full man-spider. But the man-spider arc in the comics has always been about the same question at the heart of the character. When does the spider consume the man? When does what you sacrifice to be a hero cost you the humanity that made you want to be one? If Brand New Day is actually asking that question, not just using it for action, then maybe it works. Not because it gives Peter Parker a win, but because it finally understands that the win was never the point. The point was always the fall, and how he gets back up anyway, alone.